All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to this special Thursday edition of Night in America. Hope you are all doing really well. Hope you've all had a great week so far. It's hard to believe that we are already over halfway through the month of February, but we hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day on Tuesday. For those of you who are maybe not the happiest with your IRA, or you're in a non-performing relationship with your 401k. This is an opportunity tonight for hopefully you to find a little love back in your retirement accounts. How to put a little bit of flavor flav back in your ROI if it's underperforming for you. Maybe get that non-performing retirement account back into a performing relationship. So we are honored to have tonight one of my coaches, who's Jessica Bircher, joining us from St. Louis, Missouri tonight. How's it going tonight, Jessica?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You're doing a great job out there getting tapes in. Your marketing is doing really well, and you've got some deals that you're getting ready to go to the closing table on here in a couple of weeks, and wanted to offer it up as for some folks out there that might be looking to put a little money to work, right?
Yeah, get a great return on your investment.
Exactly. So I know we've got people join us live here on Zoom. We got people watching on YouTube. We got people watching the replay. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat roll. Jessica's got some slides on these. What is that? How many total deals is it?
16, 15.
16 deals. There we go. We'll go through them, and then I think you've got a slide with all your contact information for people to reach out to you to go from there, right, Jessica?
Yeah.
But before we dive into the slides, why don't you share a little about who Jessica is and what In Motion Funding is all about?
Yeah. Well, like you said, I live in St. Louis, Missouri. I just have a passion for real estate. Even though my day job is actually in the music industry, I am a production and marketing director for a small group of music publishers. And, my niece asked me if I'd met Taylor Swift, but no, I've never met Taylor Swift. I deal more in the print music side of things, so it's not as glamorous as all that. But basically, it's just project management and marketing, and it kind of leads in really well to the notes and real estate industry because, it's just a big project to manage, basically. So, and then you've got that added value of helping people stay in their homes and making great returns on your investment and on your time. So it's an exciting place to be right now.
Yeah, it is definitely. And I have to give you some kudos because you shared a story with me, like the house that you guys live, you actually worked on and rehabbed and got it up to date. And then you've also been out looking at different properties, even some places like your husband's like, no, don't get out of the car, Jessica.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. We actually rehabbed the house we're living in now. You can see the wall behind me. I chipped all the plaster off of that myself. We actually just redid this room last year while I was pregnant, and we now have a 1-year-old who's getting into all kinds of crazy things. And yes, we're looking at maybe moving to the suburbs pretty soon. Right. So yeah, it's a fun time. But yeah, my husband, I'm a little more adventurous about getting out and taking pictures of places. And I used to be a real estate agent back in the day, so I'm a little more used to that than he is.
Sure. And then your mom is also an agent too, I believe, too, right?
She is.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, why don't you share your screen with your slides, and we'll dive into these 15 deals that you're working through, and it's a mixture of some performing and non-performing stuff, right, Jessica?
Correct. Yeah.
Cool stuff.
There we go. Can you see?
Should be popping up here in just a second. There we go.
Okay.
All right. Lubbock, Texas there.
Yeah. I thought I'd start in your home state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got this nice little occupied ranch. It is not performing right now. The owner made some payments back in October. So I'm looking at taking this over and hopefully working with a borrower to get it reperforming. But of course, Texas is a quick foreclosure state if we needed to go that route.
Mhm.
So the fair market value on this is 136,000. And I'm looking for an investment of $63,000, which is about half, a little under half of the fair market value. And just looking to make this borrower get back performing.
Well, that's a great thing. They've got quite a bit of equity, and that's why we really too believe them only being a few months behind.
Mhm.
This is a pretty much, have it with a new servicer here in Texas, and being a little bit more timely on it. I mean, it's a good looking property, plenty of equity, and if you did have to foreclose, you're doing it fast enough in a time frame in Texas that you're still going to walk away with around $20,000 in profit.
Mhm.
So if you've got money sitting, 63,000, that's not a lot of money for a lot of folks. For some folks it is, but we're not minimizing that. But somebody can make a decent return on there for in 6 to 12 months, right, Jessica?
Right. Absolutely.
Awesome. So that's a great little deal. And so if you guys are thinking about putting some money to work, and you can use your self-directed IRA or cash or check or stuff like that, that might be I think you may have knocked it out of the park with the first one right there. Let's move on to the next one. But Lubbock, Texas, area, Red Raider fans, maybe not a great place for hook 'em horns, but hey, we'll go from there.
Then we've got this little property in Birmingham, Alabama. There have not been payments on this since 2016. So it is ready to get the foreclosure paperwork kind of underway. So it is worth around $90,000. And so we would be able to foreclose on it or do a quick sale on the market. So I'm looking for an investment on this one of $40,000.
Is this a first lien or the true mortgage or a contract for deed?
This one is a first lien.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, same thing. Once again, I mean, if this is occupied or is it vacant?
It is occupied, allegedly. So
Right. Well, I think you've been getting the information directly from the servicing company and looking at
yes,
the collateral files. And then one thing I want to make a clarification: you started out with this is about 30 notes, right? 26 and 6 or something
yes,
like this, and this has whittled them down to
yeah,
the final 15 after going through all the collateral files and stuff like that. And you're in the final phases of last little bit of due diligence with it. But this is, if it's occupied, there's a lot of equity.
mhm,
Would be a really nice return getting something back on track. But then once again, you've still got you'll be making a little bit of money on the foreclosure aspect of the
mhm,
sale as well. Cool.
yep. And I do have Dickie Baldwin at Baldwin Agency running out and getting some last minute inspections on a couple properties that I haven't had people go out and see, that fellow investors helping me out around the country. So the next one's in O'Fallon, Illinois. So it is a condo in this facility. Again, no payments since 2015. So this is one that the foreclosure process did start in 2020. And then I think it looks like the COVID situation kind of put a halt to that. So it's ready to get the foreclosure process going again. And the fair market on this is around $95,000. And the legal balance is actually more than the market value. So the borrower was underwater on this. And I'm looking for an investment of $60,000 on this.
Yeah. So and what's a great thing is foreclosure was started and stalled. Doesn't mean it was stopped. So you're not having to start all over again
Yeah.
with this, which is the great thing. It's just basically picking it up and that happens a lot of times. We had foreclosures get delayed or stalled for a while, and then as portfolio has been sold, that those foreclosures have been delayed, and you can always pick them back up. But this thing would probably be more of a foreclosure because you do have the borrower's underwater on it. Now, if they did come to the table, you could do a trial payment plan, and if I remember correctly, the P&I payments on this would be a pretty good return as well, too. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, I did, just to be very conservative, I did make sure that I would have a really good ROI if I foreclosed or if I happen to get the borrower reperforming. I mean, I'm trying to be optimistic at heart and hope that these borrowers can get back on track, but have a realistic game plan where, if that's not possible, then my investor and I will still come out making some good return on our investment.
There you go.
So this is Bells, Tennessee, which is about an hour away from Memphis.
Okay.
This is actually a sub-performing loan. The borrowers paid up through September of last year, so they're only a couple months behind. The fair market value on this is $125,000. And I'm just looking for an investment of $30,000 on this. So it's going to be a great hope, if we can get it reperforming, it's going to be a great steady stream of income.
And if you don't, still it's a little bit of a foreclosure, make money and then move on to something else in a lot of ways. You're still protected because Tennessee is a relatively fast foreclosure process, doesn't cost like Florida or a longer judicial process there for you. Tennessee's a hot market too for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
like you said, yeah, I mean, you got 6 months of payments. Somebody's probably that's a nice ROI. It's first year you're gonna make 18 months of payments to get them back on track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then we've got Dayton, Ohio. So this one is completely non-performing, but the nice thing about this is it's a land contract instead of a conventional. So we would just do an eviction process on this. So fair market value is $49,000, but it would be a fast eviction process, and I'd only need about $17,500 as an investment.
Yeah, that's the great thing is, I mean, it's still going to take you, I don't know if they've already started the legal process on it, but a cancellation of contract is with a land contract. It comes with a land contract, which is an eviction process there in Ohio. Mm-hmm. You're sitting at, what's great is 32.5 in basically equity. I know you were conservative on the 49,000. Mm-hmm. And this is something that you can almost immediately, once the eviction is done, turn around and list as an REO, maybe a little bit of rehab, and go from there. But this is currently occupied right now. Is that right, Jessica? Yeah,
it is. So it's definitely in livable condition. It looks like from the recent pictures that, there's furniture outside, flower pots. So you got some pride of ownership in there. I think I'm not too concerned about the condition of the property.
Yeah, the roof looks good. You got that, looks like that hummingbird feeder right there for you. Those aren't the cheap black plastic pots too. Those are the expensive ceramic pots on the outside there too. So yeah, and this is great. 17.5. That's a great little starter investment to get rock and rolling.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then we get back to Texas. We're in Brownsville, Texas.
Down by the border, which is still a very rapidly growing area in South Texas.
Mm-hmm. So the borrower is very behind in payments, but they are trying to make some payments. Their last payment they made was in November. A foreclosure has been started on this. It was started last June. So, if we can't get the borrower back on track, we can continue the foreclosure process. So, conservatively, again, the fair market value on this is $88,000, and I'm just looking for an investment of $28,500 on this.
And that $28,500 would include the legal side to foreclose on that, because it's relatively fast here in Texas. If it doesn't sell at the auction, you're into a windfall. You know what I mean? And I think your legal balance doesn't include the last few months of payments on there as well, too, correct?
Right, because I have been doing quite a bit of research on this for the past a few weeks.
Yeah, so. about the last month, actually. You know what I mean? If you think about it, when you got your bids back after the first of the year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, I got them right at Christmas. I think that was my Christmas present.
There you go. Exactly. So yeah, Brownsville, great little area. I think you're conservative on your value, but it's better to be under promise and over perform. So
Mhm.
good stuff.
Yeah.
And that one's, less than $30,000 investment on about a $90,000 house. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, look at that little cute little house. Is that a flagpole out in front?
It could be if you wanted it to be.
This one's in Harrisville, PA. Okay.
Yeah, this one is great because it is performing. The borrower, the loan was modified back in 2014, and basically the borrower has been on time for the past couple of years. So this is basically passive income. Take it over, transfer the servicing, and
Got a payment stream coming in.
mhm. Yeah. So again, conservatively, the fair market value on this is 110. Harrisville is just an hour away from Pittsburgh, PA. So basically the suburbs. And just looking for an investment of $38,000 on this.
And what type of, I had a question here from YouTube, and I was meant to ask this a little bit earlier and I forgot as we got talking. What kind of ROI, annualized ROI, are you willing to give the investors who are looking to fund these deals?
It depends on how much initial investment you're thinking about making. I kind of have a sliding scale. If you're interested in making a large investment, I would definitely give you more of a percentage. So I would love to chat with you, and we can see what percentage you're looking at, and then I might be able to accommodate that.
That's a great answer. So that's good, but that's the great thing. And you've got a couple different ways to structure it.
Yeah.
If coming in and funding multiple deals versus just funding one little small one. If it's a short term, it's going to be like you're probably at least giving somewhere around like a 6%.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum. Okay, that's good to know. Just want to put that out there for everybody.
Yeah. But hey, we've got a lot of deals. And that's the great thing about working with an individual instead of like an institution. I can be flexible about terms and returns. So
well, it's also too, is just not going into something blind like a mutual fund. You're actually seeing a property, see some of the values. If somebody's funding an individual deal, they're in that deal. It's not being mixed with 40 other deals. It's literally that one there. So this is a nice little one as well in Augusta, Georgia, another very fast foreclosure state.
Yeah, the borrower is very behind. They made some payments in 2022, but their last payment was in April. So this would most likely be a foreclosure. The fair market value on this is 81.6, but it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So I think that's a pretty conservative value.
Right.
And I'm looking for an investment of $27,000 on this.
This is a first lien or a contract per deed,
This is a first lien.
Okay. Same thing, less about $1,000 to foreclose in Georgia. On that investment is figured in the 27, and your ROI, if they start performing, still going to be a good yield to you. And if they make up those, was it 10 months of payments they're behind them, or 8 months of payments behind it, including, I know that's what you're wanting to do. Hey, let's get you making some extra payments and paying on time. Turns out to be a really good yield for you. So awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I would love for these borrowers to be able to stay. And I financially am planning that would be a good deal for everybody if they could stay. But if they can't stay, I'm also making plans on foreclosing and costs for that.
Well, and another thing too is the fact is that there's equity above this. You could even, if somebody want to go to foreclosure, you have the flexibility with some of the stuff to even give them some cash for keys to walk. Give them something. Because if it goes to foreclosure, they may not get anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then you end up taking it back and they don't get anything. So that's what's great about these deals where there being some equity. There is an opportunity to do some dealing. That number obviously will be a little bit higher on the investment side, but still. Hey, flexibility there. Hey, like this one, somebody's mentioned online here about the blue tarp. Hey, that's the corner of the house. That's a pretty easy fix with some new shingles in a lot of cases. It's not the peak of the roof. You know what I mean? It's smack dab in the middle. And this is I think you've got a more current photo coming on this one. Is that right?
Yeah. And I mean, keep in mind also, this is occupied. So, I think if it were a total, mess inside and having, horribly serious water damage, I don't think that it would be occupied and livable. So,
Right, exactly. And you get the built-in barbecue pit there in Augusta, Georgia. Hey, you could, there's that 1 week in April, there's a small little golf tournament happens in there in Augusta every year, doesn't it? Right? Something. I don't know, the Masters, right?
I'm a musician. I don't quite know about those things, but
That's okay. That's all right. But there's houses all over Augusta that rent for multiple $1,000s for the week of
Mhm.
the Masters there. So
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess potential for those Airbnb situations.
there you go. Exactly.
Mhm.
Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Now there's a
Yeah.
story about this one. Is this the one that we're thinking about in Florida, or is there another one that we're talking about that you were talking about earlier?
I think it's this one. So this one actually is in kind of rough condition. It did have a fire on the interior. So I had another investor take a look at this, and they were able to, this is the only vacant one in the whole bunch. And so they were able to kind of peek their head in and see that there was actual damage to the property. So, but it's still, a decent neighborhood. The fair market value on this, is $65,000. I think with the condition, it's going to be less, but
the reason you threw this in here, I think you're missing the lead on this, is you're having people that want to buy this as is right now.
Yeah, I do. I already have an offer on this. So, but sometimes things fall through. So I didn't want to not present it in case, we needed a backup offer. So
that makes sense. Very makes sense.
Yeah. So we're just looking at an investment of 20,500 on this. And the foreclosure process has already been started in 2022. The buyer, it's vacant. The buyer does not live there any longer. They have not been making any payments since 2020. I believe this one was held up because of probate issues. So it's ready to just get that foreclosure finished out.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Here we go. Casa Grande in Arizona. This one is great because it is also performing. This is another one. The loan was modified back in 2009. And they've been making regular payments since. So this is another one where it's just going to be a great passive investment. So fair market value is 110. I'm looking at getting this note for a $51,000 investment. And like I said, it's already performing. They're totally on track right now. It's great.
And if they don't, it's a fast foreclosure. Arizona's fast, and you've got roughly 40% of equity above your investment too, which is good. So that's great. You've got somebody who's making payments, wants to stay there. That's a pretty solid investment for several years, which is awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah. And we got another Augusta, Georgia. So this one, the borrower is behind. They made their last payment in October. So we're hopefully going to be able to get them back on track. But again, if we can't, we've got that option to try and do a deed in lieu or to take it under foreclosure. So the fair market value of this property is $79,900. And we're just looking at a small investment of $18,000.
Get the ball rolling to either get them back on track or foreclose. Now, I do have to ask a question here. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Is that the square footage for the lot? 6,000?
Oh, it is. It is.
Okay.
I think it's. Right. I think it's more like 1,000 square footage. I think.
Yeah, no problem. I've done that before too, where you're looking at the same thing on Zillow. It's easy to take it over there. But this is a get it reperforming, keep it keep it paying. If not, hey, let's go the route to deed in lieu, cash for keys, or foreclose, and you're likely to have somebody come to the table and get you taken care of. Good stuff.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in Augusta, Georgia, we've got those two, we could package them together, obviously. So
Great stuff.
and we've got this Wilmington, North Carolina. I don't know if you can see this, but if you look back here behind this tree branch, you can see the owner waving.
Yeah.
So it's cute. This is actually a sub-performing. The loan is totally current through June of last year, and they're kind of making little payments here or there. So this is one I'm pretty sure we could get reperforming. But again, if we had to, we could foreclose. As you always have that option.
Yeah.
So fair market value on this is 84,000, and because this is a smaller home, but Wilmington, North Carolina is kind of a hot area. So
it is.
Yeah, so just looking for an investment of 13.5 on this, which is a low investment. So yeah.
And the yield on that, if you get them back reperforming, it's gonna be really good. It's a great way for you to kind of dip your toes in the water there for you.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay, we have another Birmingham, Alabama property. This one is also sub-performing. The loan is current through last August. The borrower is currently going through Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So they're making some little payments here and there to try and get caught up. And, then, hopefully we can get them totally caught up and back to regular payments and back to performing. But the great thing about this is it is a contract for deed. So if they can't get reperforming, or their terms of their bankruptcy aren't favorable for us, we can just do an eviction and take it over. That's the great thing about those contract for deeds.
Yep, that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. And yeah, and it's the same. They had a ton of value there. You're in at roughly 34 cents on the dollar value.
Yeah.
If they don't fall through the payments of the bankruptcy, it's going to be discharged, and then you go from there.
Mm-hmm. So fair market value on this is $45,000, and we're just looking for an investment of $15,500.
Nice. Good stuff.
So we've got one in Louisville, Kentucky, and this is another one. The borrower is actually very behind, but they have made some recent payments. They made a payment in November of last year. The foreclosure process was started in 2020, so I think this is maybe another one that was kind of held up because of COVID. So if we can get the borrower back on track, great. If not, then we can proceed with those foreclosure processes.
Yep, good stuff.
Yeah. And fair market on this is 63,000. This is a side view of the house. I'm working on getting a better picture. But I'm looking at an investment of 19.5 on this.
Very nice. Good stuff.
And last but not least, Jacksonville, Florida. It's a cute little house. It's occupied. The fair market value on this is 145,000. Properties in this area are going for, anywhere between that and much higher, but I wanted to be conservative. Looking for an investment of 70,000 on this. The borrower is very behind. There's been no payments at all since 2016. The foreclosure process is underway, and it was started again in 2020. And so we're just looking to finish out this foreclosure and take over the property and basically sell it.
Yep, exactly. That's a good thing there. And the legal balance is going to be a little bit higher. It's going to be over 90, actually. I think is when you start figuring everything off based on that stuff, which is good. So a nice little chunk of profit if you still at the auction. If not, you take it back and you get more profit than in the back end.
Yeah, great. Great. So, we are matching up investors with these opportunities and looking for people who are really wanting to get a great return on their investment, above average returns. So if you would be interested in talking with me about any of these deals, about what kind of returns you can receive, feel free to go to talkwithjessica.com. You can book an appointment with me, or you can book a quick little chat via phone with me there. You can learn more about my company and me on our website, inmotionfunding.com. You're also welcome to email me. It's Jessica, J as in Jessica, Bircher, B as in boy, URCHER at inmotionfunding.com.
But do yourself a favor. Use the booking link, talkwithjessica.com. That'll work around. When you got a 1-year-old, you've got to you got to figure in the time. So do her a favor, book it so she can plan a more accurate call schedule for you on that stuff there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. And like I said, if you go to unmotionfunding.com, you'll see information about Jessica and her companies and the other stuff that she's doing as a note investor.
Yeah.
Are there any questions for me online here on Zoom? I see, hey, Eleanor, she says, or he says, hey, Scott, hey, how's it going? Good to see you there. You're looking to close these by the end of the month. Is that correct, Jessica, right? Roughly?
Yeah, I would. I've been finishing up the due diligence on these and making sure everything's really clean on these files. So yeah, they're ready to be funded and closed. Awesome.
Good stuff there. Good stuff. Well, thank you for taking the time to put that together. I know folks that were on here enjoy it. Folks that are watching the replay, I have some questions, so we'll get this out to everybody ASAP there. So thank you again so much for coming on a special edition of Note Night in America with the note investing rock star here, Jessica Bircher.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. We'll see you later. All righty.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.